Hey everyone, Brew here, and today we're gonna do a video guide on Seer. Guys, Seer is such a fantastic champion. I was so happy when I got her. It's a void, of course, so it's much harder to get than other champions. Those void shards are very hard to get. You know, we get one once every month, and then this one's an epic, so 8% chance to get one, and then there's all the RNG. But Seer is definitely a great champion, a top 5 epic in my opinion, just because she makes runs so much easier when you've got the right setup and of course the right gear. So getting into it, guys, she's a support champion here, but really her role is not support. She's there for the nuke. She's there to nuke the waves. She's there to nuke in PvP. She's fantastic, I think, in my opinion, in some setups. So I mostly use her for dungeon farming and not PvP. So I'm going to show you just dungeon farming in this video. So guys, what I have on her is just a mixture of gear here, just a critical damage set here, some speed, an attack set, which doesn't really matter for her. What I would say, the best thing for her is to focus on critical rate and critical damage. Get that 100% critical rate and as much critical damage as you can, just to make sure that your nuke just lands perfectly on the enemies. I didn't put any accuracy on her. Resistance is whatever, and the attack is at about 3k, although attack is not that important for her. I would say just critical rate and critical damage are important, and the speed you need her to basically go after your buffers and debuffers, and I'm gonna explain why in a bit. Critical damage, of course, guys, on my gloves and whatever on the chest. There's actually a defense flat stat, but this was a very good chest, a triple roll on critical damage, speed substat, and a critical damage substat. What else would you want from an item? It's a perfect item and perfect example of not throwing away the flat stat item, because I think I rolled it twice, got the critical rate, and then I just said this is a great piece of item for a champion like Seer for this role that I need her. And of course I went for speed on the boots. So guys, her skills, this is why she's so fantastic. We're gonna go with the A1, A2, and A3, and then you'll understand why she's so good. Attacks one enemy, has a 15% chance of granting an extra turn. This is great when it happens. It's almost like having relentless gear on when she attacks with her A1. I mean, it's good when it happens, but you cannot really depend on that, so it's whatever. Her A2 places a 30% increased critical rate buff on all allies for 2 turns, and plays a 25% weaken debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. This is so good because not only she applies a buff on you or your team, but she also applies a debuff on the enemies. So here is where it becomes a bit strange, because I did not put any accuracy on her, because the way that I roll with her is that I have debuffers already. So on my legendary team I use Venus, but on the teams that I'm going to show you, I'm going to use epic champions in there. By the way, here she is. Here's Sugar. She just jumped on right here when I was doing the video again. So when I usually use Seer, guys, I use a great debuffer before her who applies usually both of those debuffs, or if I use an epic champion, he will apply that defense down, which is way stronger than a weekend debuff. What Seer does is she goes straight for the karma burn. If she knows that her skills will actually kill the enemy, she won't do the A2 first. That's how her AI works. So her A3 karma burn, this is the bread and butter. This is what makes her a top 5 in my opinion. Karma burn removes all buffs from enemies and allies, then attacks all enemies. Okay, damage increases according to the number of removed buffs. Okay, again, has a 50% chance of placing a sleeve debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. That's whatever. The chance of placing a sleeve debuff increases by 5% for each buff removed. Inflicts less damage to bosses. That's okay too. Damage is based on enemy max HP. So Seer is one of those champions that does damage based on max HP. This is fantastic, but it's capped on bosses. Why she's really good, guys, is because you run her with a buffer. Usually Mausoleum Mage has a ton of buffs using his I think it's A2. He uses his buffing, and then Seer goes in and uses her A3 immediately to clear the wave. Then you go to the next wave. You have a way to reset either by using a Renegade or by using a Prince Chimera. You reset your skills, you go again, and you basically reach the boss in a couple of seconds, usually under 30 seconds. So masteries, guys, for her masteries, I went for that Helm Smasher. I try to get Ruthless Ambush, although this is not that great if you don't have the gear. So I would say go for bring it down if you don't have the gear, and she actually goes in for an attack or two before everyone buffs up, the debuffs go down. So if you don't have a kind of an end game gear available for her, I don't think you should go for Ruthless Ambush. Of course, Cycle of Violence is great because there's a 30% chance of decreasing your cooldowns. This helps when you're trying to, you know, get those cooldowns to reset when you have a Renegade there. Renegade does not completely reset everything, so Cycle of Violence is great. And then Hell Smasher, I went for this because of that 25% chance, 50% chance to ignore a 25% of the target's defense. I think this is great. Of course, you could have gone for Flawless Execution as well if you're lacking some critical damage and you want to boost that up to probably 200 if you're under 200. And then for the support tree, I went for some accuracy. I could have gone for a charge focus, but usually what Seer does, she goes for her A3 in my team, so I don't care really about having charge focus up. And then just had to get that accuracy. I got a lot of seals for that extra bit of stats. Evil Eye just in case when she attacks with that A1, and then I went for Spirit Haste to get some more speed if somebody dies in my team. Usually it's Renegade, so she gets like 8 extra speed during my runs. So guys, I'll show you a couple of runs in the Dragon. That's where I like to use her the most. Of course, she works on all dungeons with the same kind of setup. It's a bit different in the Ice Golem because the Ice Golem boss is a bit trigger happy with his AoE damage, and basically kills everyone when he drops below certain percentage thresholds, if you guys know already. So let's go in the Dragon 20 and I'll show you what happens. For Dragon 20, this is my team that I'm going to show you with basically epics and a rare. What this team is, basically Althar is our dragon killer. He has the poisons. The poisons are what are gonna kill the dragon. And then we have Seer there, which I explained. We have one buffer there with Apothecary just for the speeds. We have Mausoleum Mage, who applies 3 buffs with his move. He goes before Seer, and the same thing with Stagnite, he applies debuffs, and of course he as well goes before Seer. So the setup is gonna be basically Apothecary going, Mausoleum, Stagnite, and then Seer for her damage. You're gonna see what with just defense down happens when you go on the waves here. So that's the AoE defense down, all the buffs there, and look at Seer right now. She cleared everything with just the defense down, no weaken. So if I use my Venus instead, this would be amazing. So this setup does not use a Renegade, so you're gonna see everyone rotate through their skills a bit. Everyone goes for an attack there. Apothecary is actually down here because we didn't manage to kill any one of those, but I think we still gonna be able to bring down the boss. So Seer should have her A3 available anytime now. There we go. She killed 4 of them. Only one of them survived. I think that was just because of we were lacking Apothecary's speed up. So now we reach the boss. That's where we need Althar. Althar is gonna be there to apply 4 poisons on the boss, and look at how much he dropped his health already. Guys, if you don't know, the key to killing the dragon boss is just poisons. A great poisoner is gonna go a long way, and that's Althar. Althar is a fantastic poisoner for the dragon boss. He applies 4 poisons directly. He's strong affinity, so he won't get as hurt as other champions in there, and his damage is gonna be fantastic if you've got that Giant Slayer as well. I also have Giant Slayer on him because I used him for a while in the clan boss. So look at this already, 1 minute 30 and the boss is almost down. Everyone of course is very low health, but Althar will actually manage to kill the boss just through the poisons. There we go, 1 minute 36 with this team, and it shows how strong Seer is. Of course we had a bit of problem in wave 2 with Apothecary dying. So in the next setup, guys, I'm gonna show you what happens with the Renegade there as well. Next up, we're gonna showcase how Renegade changes up the whole thing. Of course, we're gonna be missing, you know, the speed buffs and of course the speed boost that Apothecary would provide, but instead Renegade will provide that reset to everyone, to their skills. So wave 2 should go way faster than before. So let's just go in and see how this works out with Renegade instead. There you see we didn't apply a defense down on everyone, but even so my Seer managed to apply her Karma Burn. The problem here, if you guys saw, was that Yeah, Seer went there with A2 first, so we had a few delays there, but still we managed to clear the waves way faster. We reached the boss at about 20 seconds, so by having Renegade instead there, we reduced the cooldowns of everyone by 2 turns once everyone goes, so Renegade must be the slowest as possible. And then here we're just basically waiting for Althar to keep applying those poisons, spamming those poisons whenever he can. And of course, Mausoleum Mage also brings something more to the team other than just buffing up Seer for her nuke. So look at that, 449,000 from Seer. I think that's just fantastic damage on the dragon boss. So this team is probably gonna be at around 115 maybe. Oh, we got another karma burn but couldn't kill. Okay, that was way faster than before. 1 minute 2 seconds. That was way better than I thought it would go. But yeah, this team is still all epics. If I change out and put legendaries in there, it won't go way better than before. But let's just put in my Venus just to showcase how a Venus would go here. I'm not gonna put there Barel. Of course, Barel will also help, but I think his poisons are longer cooldown and much fewer than Althar, so he applies 2 poisons, Althar applies 4. But let's just put it in for the showcase of what having some legendaries does to this team. So where's Barel, and then where's Venus? Okay, so Venus is gonna apply even better debuffs on the enemies, so you guys are gonna see a guaranteed kill on the waves here. So more buffs here, more debuffs here, more. Look at all that, like 400k on the waves. Like here we needed to get a reset before, but that's fine. There we go with the defense down. I think we should still be able to clear everything. Now you're gonna see Mausoleum Mage actually apply all the buffs than before. So 24 seconds to reach the boss. Now the problem is I think this one is gonna go way slower just because of how many poisons my Battle Khazar applies, but I think I've got him quite fast. So yeah, end game gear on him right now. So he's gonna take way more turns than Althar did before. So 400k there from Seer, just fantastic damage on the dragon. And I think this is a great time for this video because I think tomorrow we have a dragon tournament starting up. So look at all those poisons. 56 seconds, we're still going. I think if I speed tuned a bit better my Renegade, I think this team would go a bit faster. But see, already we're at 1 minute 10 and it's way slower than the team before, where we didn't have Battle Khazar and Venus. But of course I think this will be a more consistent team because Battle Khazar also applies you know, a cleanse, more poisons. I think this is more consistent than the one before. So this is not my actual farming team though. I've got a faster team than this using Royal Guards. Thanks a lot for watching this Seer video. I might do another video in the future going more in depth on her karma burn, showing her in PvP as well, how you can use that instead. There's some tricks in there when you're using Seer in PvP, but we're not going to showcase this one since she needs totally different gear on this one. This is a more dungeons showcase for Seer. So thanks a lot guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, leave a like down below and comment on what you want to see with Seer or maybe another champion that I have here in my roster. Thanks a lot for watching and I'll see you in the next one. See ya guys.